Good morning. My name's Hugh Griffiths. I'm director of oMbiel. As you probably can guess from my accent, we're based in the West Midlands. We've developing the campusM mobile application. 20 plus years ago, I graduated and joined Oracle as a consultant and also as part of their technical development team. 5 years after I joined Oracle, I started my own professional services company focusing on integration, specialising in Oracle. And then in 2008, my life changed again. And that was obviously, with the advent of the iPhone and the App Store came out. And that was when we started to develop the concept of campusM and started developing out the platform. Effectively, in 2008, Apple released their App Store, and that was a revolution, really, to the marketplace. People started to see what they could do with their smartphones that they'd never been able to do before. Some were quite unusual, things like spirit levels they could use their phone for. A colleague of mine was using it to tune his guitar. Another one was pretending he was in Star Wars with a lightsaber. And then people taking pictures of barcodes in shops and finding what the cheapest product is closest to them. So it really changed the way that we thought what we could do with a smartphone device. After a year of the App Store, obviously the stats were pretty amazing. And after 2 years, they were still increasing. I used to watch these figures quite regularly to see what they were, to see when the tipping point was. And it wasn't too far before I just really stopped looking and to see what was happening, because it was moving forward so quick. Yeah, a lot of commentators say that the smartphone is merging as the next computing platform. I think obviously you see that from the Microsoft presentation, probably smartphone is a term that's used now, but in the future it'll become any user interface that's constantly connected that can access information. I think what's quite interesting with the renaissance of what's happened and what's been generated by Apple is that 15 years ago I was developing mobile applications, but they were for specific uses for businesses to empower their workforce. Obviously with the App Store that changed everything, and this was being led by consumers. A number of enterprises though started to see the benefits of what apps could provide to their customers. And so what you started to see was a range of what I describe as enterprise mobile apps. Those are apps that are typically tightly integrated to back-end systems, they're personalised, and of course they've got to be secure. So this was moving forward again, the constant acceleration of the smartphone. I think there's a number of other things that's obviously helped accelerate smartphone adoption. One is now there's obviously a greater choice of devices, and some with really good cost options. I think as well that a lot of the things that we probably in this room take for granted, things like, if I want to get an app, I know where to get it from. Things, that concept, those features about owning and using a smartphone weren't around a couple of years ago. This is helping people who, like my children who are moving into the smartphone market. These things are just becoming typical and customary for them. Another, there's other things like location-based services. Those are the things that they're getting used to, and those are just embedded in apps that they use. And even like operating system upgrades. Sort of a decade ago, if somebody said, go and upgrade your operating system on your PC, you'd be absolutely horrified. You'd be trying to take backups of everything. Now that's just part of the cycle of owning a smartphone. And as Jeremy said, that really students don't need any encouragement to bring these devices to university or college. They're doing this already. And that's obviously an opportunity for universities to take advantage of. From the technology point of view, there's a number of things that have happened as well that's making it easier for people to develop enterprise software and get those deployed. Obviously, the devices, it's very visible to see the improvements in devices. Some of them are a bit less obvious, battery life and things like that. But, in terms of, the user interface, obviously seeing on the Microsoft video how the user interface, might look in the future. And this really is providing a very, very powerful mobile platform. And of course, what's a little bit more hidden is faster and more accessible networks. I mean, when I go to universities, there's normally very good Wi-Fi coverage. You go out into town, you go to pubs, restaurants, cafes, they've normally got Wi-Fi access. And of course, then this is supported as well by a very good 3G network as well. Again, from our point of view as sort of, coming from a technology background, more and more application vendors are starting to support web services and the concept of service-oriented architecture. This is just really becoming a standard to allow people consume data from them and present it in different ways. Again, looking at the Microsoft thing, a lot of that was really about how people interact with data. And I think that's an important thing, that when people are looking at coming with a mobile strategy, sometimes it's very much focused on the user interface and actually what access do we need to data. A lot of times, obviously, we get questioned, and universities try to question themselves, well, how many students have smartphones? What do they want to run on their smartphone? We've done a report recently in the summer that pulls together surveys by universities in the UK and US. It's available from that website. And that basically, again, is just bringing together what universities are researching and surveying. In an ongoing survey at the moment, this is just recent from Manchester Met University, they've discovered that 48% of students surveyed have smartphones. Smartphone ownership is dominated by the iPhone, Android and BlackBerry. The sort of services that students are requesting, and I completely agree with Jeremy that, what we're looking at here is it's all about information provision. The next generation, and the way that really mobile has to move is to look at how that can add to the value of educating. So the core services that students are asking for are, access to things like course exam timetables, library information, campus maps. I think it'd be very interesting, that these surveys have to be sort of continuing as devices evolve, as the opportunities evolve as well. Obviously, there's a number of key challenges here. How do we provide a student with an experience that they would expect on their device? We all, part of the remit of universities and colleges to try to be as inclusive as possible. There's lots of devices out there, lots of different types, lots of different operating systems. And the cycle of change is very, very quick. And we can't, yeah, I mean, it's already been said, we can't really predict what's going to happen. Now, some of the things that I see in how people are addressing this, and going back to technology again, and back to what Jeremy said, there does seem to be some, strong views and debates on how to develop mobile applications. People talk about HTML5, they talk about widgets, native apps, they talk about cross-platform development environments. And I think everybody's looking for the silver bullet. I think we all know that those don't really exist in IT. And what really works is, all these have got their pros and cons, is using a combination of these, and, in cases, actually using a blended version of these as well. But I think there is a bigger picture to this, and that's really what we should be doing is architecting for change and reuse. The work that we're doing, we want to take advantage of user interfaces that come out. We want to take advantage of user interfaces that may be there in a decade. So those principles really underpin what campusM platform's about. It's this ability to try and react to a very fast-changing market, and trying to provide that student experience that students would expect to get on a mobile device. From that platform, what we've done is that we've created vertical applications. We've created ones for students, student recruitment. We've got a concept and the ability to develop and deploy applications with very little programming. And then obviously these stakeholders have got different requirements. There's obviously a growing customer base. When I was sort of presenting last year to universities, it was very much, I was there evangelising about smartphones. That has very, very much changed. I think people believe there are true benefits to that, but it's the ongoing complexity of the mobile devices that stops them moving forward. Some of the things that we do now address what students are requesting that should be on their mobile device. These range from things like having their timetables, from location-based services like campus maps, finding out where their nearest PC is available. And again, I agree with Jeremy there that the next stage really is how can we embrace this technology to then have an impact on how students are taught. I've got a very short video, about 3 minutes now, which just goes through very briefly some of the features that we've got in campusM. I know that's a very short video. We just wanted to share that just to visualise some of the things that we're doing for universities. I'll turn that off. Thank you.